I think the Sustainable Development Goal agenda for education is a complete change from where we were. I mean, the Millennium Development Goal was ambitious, but it was solely about access. It was just saying, let's get kids into school. That's a worthy objective, but it was only focused on primary school and it had no prism through which to deal with quality. And now, of course, as a result, we've seen more kids in school, but the quality of what's happening in those classrooms is open to a lot of questions. The Sustainable Development Goal agenda, I think, has got wise to those problems, and so it's not only a more ambitious access measure, but it's also focused on quality, and it's been informed by the scientific research that tells us if you're really going to make a difference for a child's life, then you've got to look at pre-primary as well as what happens in schooling. So all of that, I think, means we've got a more comprehensive agenda to follow, and one which has dealt with some of the difficulties which were inherent in the Millennium Development Goal agenda. Developing countries, as they meet in their GPE constituency, so we bring groups of countries together, are involved in a lively exchange, and that exchange at the moment is particularly focused on quality. So everybody is very keen to learn what others are doing in teacher training, what they're doing in assessment, how the information that is gained from assessment is then fed back in a quality loop. So it's not just information for information's sake, but it's information that's making a difference. We also see a lot of lively exchange about secondary school now, because the Sustainable Development Goal has a lifted ambition. People are talking about and exchanging policy ideas on how you retain children from primary school into secondary school, how you particularly retain girls in that transition, and then what facilitates the poorest children to go on to upper secondary. I think a big problem for the education sector has been the fragmentation. I mean, part of our mission in working with developing countries to get a robust education sector plan is we can then say to all actors, to donors, to the philanthropic community, here's the plan. Don't, run off and just pick something at random. Look at the plan, work out where the resource constraints are and help address some of the things that will mean that this plan comes alive and all aspects of it get done. So that kind of coordination. We actually have a funding model now where 70% of the funds flow once there is a robust education sector plan, but 30% is at risk depending on hitting milestones and benchmarks. And it was actually a number of our developing country partners who were enthusiastic about that funding model because they want accountability. They want to be able to demonstrate results, not just to the donor community, to USAID or DFID or whoever it might be, but to their own citizens, that education is improving and change is possible. One, I would hope that the sources of finance have diversified and strengthened, that the financing picture is quite different from today. Two, I would hope that the way in which global goods, things that can be produced at scale and consequently at cheaper price points, are getting into education systems more efficiently than they do today. This financing conundrum, yes, we need more money, but if some of the commonly used things, technology, textbooks, if we can drive price points down, then each dollar is going to create more change. Now, education's always going to be a locally delivered good and locally planned, but as people pull in the goods that they need, I'd like to see them at a more efficient and cheaper price point. And thirdly, I hope that we would have sophisticated tools to measure quality, and year upon year upon year we can see it improving.